My focus is insurance, because insurance is protection against financial loss. Did you know that that with insurance, life insurance, that you can actually fund a business?
No, I've been hearing about that.
And it's
I've
no
been hearing
joke.
about
It's no
Okay.
joke. And yeah, it is for real. As a matter of fact, where I moved from in 2013, I moved back here from Texas. I had retired from the Army,
Okay.
living in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, and I moved here, and I still have friends there. And one of my colleagues actually helped a guy who was getting into the real estate business some years ago,
Right.
and he helped him with a permanent life insurance policy. And through that cash value that was built up over time, this guy now is what they call a hard money lender. If
Okay.
you're familiar with hard money
Yes.
lending,
Yes, I am.
you know they usually help people who are doing remodels,
Yeah.
etc.,
Yeah.
etc.
Fix and flip and stuff.
That's
Right.
exactly right.
Right.
So
Right.
this guy no longer goes to the bank at all. He
Right.
helps these folks, and needless to say, he's making a lot of money.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 74 of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, where connections matter. I'm Charles McKay, your host, where each week I bring you interviews of Detroit difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship and community involvement. Ladies and gentlemen, again, welcome to episode 74. Want to thank everybody who's viewing us live on our LinkedIn page at the Detroit Metro Plug podcast and viewing us live on our Facebook page, Detroit Metro Plug podcast, and also in our Facebook group, the Detroit Metro Plug, the marketplace. So thank you. If you are viewing us live, again, I say thank you. And if you find value in what we're doing, I encourage you to like and share this with your friends, your associates, people you may know on the Facebook and LinkedIn platform. We have a great topic tonight: financial wellness, the path to financial wellness. We have a great guest that's going to talk about his services and how he can help you to obtain financial wellness. We are living in a world of uncertainty. You know, there's interest rates are going up. We have layoffs in the tech sector. Even though the job market is still looks to be pretty solid, but there's still a certain degree of uncertainty. And most research shows that most people who are working 9 to 5 live paycheck to paycheck, and if they were to encounter an emergency, they could be in rough shape. So we're going to talk about that. But before I go into our introducing our guests and going into our topic, I do have a few questions for our audience. So, have you ever thought about how you can make an impact, or have you ever desired to be a hero? If you answer yes to both of those questions, I want to encourage you to join me and to support Black Leaders Detroit, which is a nonprofit organization that's doing great work here in the city of Detroit. They're providing resources, no interest loans to entrepreneurs, business owners in the local Detroit area, helping Black nonprofit leaders with grants, helping also small business owners with small, no interest loans, as well as other resources. They've given over 1 million resources and impacted the community. So I want to encourage you. You can join me in becoming a hero, making an impact by just supporting this organization, just $1 a week, or $52 a year. Let me share this quick video. You can learn more about what they're doing.
Black Leaders Detroit, they knew that during the pandemic, that Black businesses were going to be left out of any type of funding that the government gave, and they wanted to make sure that they were able to figure out how they could step up and help. Because again, this is their community, and they want to make sure that their community is still here when this pandemic is over with. And the only way you can do that is by offering support to your community. And so they stepped up and they did that.
I've been telling everyone I know about Black Leaders Detroit. The things that they're doing is simply amazing. And they're taking care of business for the Black business owners.
It's $1 a week donation to keep this great thing moving. $1 a week keeps it popping. Black Leaders Detroit.
All right. Just as the lady said, $1 a week keeps this great thing moving. $1 a week would keep everything popping. So you too can be a face of a hero. Join me in supporting Black Leaders Detroit. $1 a week, $52 a year. Simply go to blackleadersdetroit.org. Blackleadersdetroit.org. So also, I will be actually doing a special podcast interview tomorrow at the headquarters of Black Leaders Detroit in Detroit. I'll be interviewing the volunteer lead, Tiana London, tomorrow. She's going to talk about their upcoming event, the Ride for Equity. Some of the leaders and volunteers with Black Leaders Detroit are riding bikes to the Mackinac Policy Conference at Mackinac Island, and they're going to raise an awareness about equity and getting resources to help entrepreneurs in Detroit, Black entrepreneurs in Detroit. So I'll be interviewing her tomorrow. So tune in. We'll have that available on all our platforms. So thanks again for your support of this great organization. Now let's get to our topic for today. We're going to be talking about the path to financial wellness. So let me introduce our guests. So our guest for tonight's podcast interview, episode 74, is a retired U.S. Army veteran and entrepreneur. He owns two veteran-owned businesses. He is a husband, a father, and a cool grandfather. I like that, a cool grandfather. I love cool grandfathers. As an insurance professional, he believes that insurance is protection against financial loss, and each person should experience true financial wellness, freedom from debt, a lower tax burden in retirement, and safe, predictable income in retirement. As the owner of First Sergeant Marketing, this business offers an extensive range of promotional products with over thousands of products to choose from. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the podcast none other than Alvin Lynn the third.
All right, all right. Hey, I appreciate you, Charles, and thank you for having me on your show this evening. And I got to tell you right away, the opening, I am excited about what you all are doing in Detroit for entrepreneurs. They used to call it hustling.
Right.
Yeah. So I just told on myself. But I am a grandfather, and I love being a grandpa. And so when we talk about, and I'm only going to mention that for a few seconds because I'm thinking about my grandchildren right now as we speak,
Okay.
and a total of 10 of them. So there you have it. Some of them happen to
grandchildren.
some of them happen to be grown. So there we go.
Okay.
Let me slow down a little bit and share with you why we talk about wellness in this capacity.
All right.
I take a holistic approach to each individual. So what does that really mean? What that really means is, because I am licensed on the health side as well as on the insurance side. So my focus is insurance, because insurance is protection against financial loss. Did you know that that with insurance, life insurance, that you can actually fund a business?
No, I've been hearing about that.
and it's no
The inbox.
joke. It's no
Okay.
joke, and yeah, it is for real. As a matter of fact, where I moved from in 2013, I moved back here from Texas. I had retired from the army,
Okay.
living in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, and I moved here, and I still have friends there. And one of my colleagues actually helped a guy who was getting into the real estate business some years ago,
Right.
and he helped him with a permanent life insurance policy. And through that cash value that was built up over time, this guy now is what they call a hard money lender. If
Okay.
you're familiar with hard money
Yes.
lending,
Yes, I am.
you know they usually help people who are doing remodels,
Yeah.
etc.,
Yeah.
etc.
Fix and flip and stuff.
That's
Right.
exactly right.
Right.
So
Right.
this guy no longer goes to the bank at all. He
Right.
helps these folks, and needless to say, he's making a lot of money.
Right.
So
Right.
when we talk about insurance, and I'm all off track because of how you introduced the evening, I just said, "Wow, I got to tell that story."
Right. Appreciate
Yeah.
that story.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
awesome.
So why did I get into this business? I
Okay.
actually got into this business. I mentioned that I moved here in 2013, or moved back here. I am a Michigander. Moved
Okay.
back here in 2013. And what got me into the insurance business was out of a need to help my mom. Back
Okay.
then, before my mom passed away in 2014, um, I didn't understand. She was sick at that time. She had cancer. I couldn't understand how Medicare worked.
Right.
And through helping her with a couple of my siblings, I became really curious, along
Right.
with being frustrated. And and then it was just a moment early in the morning. I do remember it was 2 o'clock in the morning to be exact. That it was just get your license. So studying, and you go through the process of test and et cetera and et cetera. I got my license, and I
Okay.
started in that space, the
You started.
Medicare space.
You started. So you got your health
I got
license, not your
I,
life insurance license.
both at the same time.
Oh, at the same time. Okay. All
At the
right.
same time, as at the same time. So I got my health and my life
Now, was
license.
you sponsored through an agency, or you got it on your own, or something else?
No, I got it on my own.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And so, and great question, because you can be, when they say sponsored, you can become captive, and a lot of
Captive.
people
Right.
are captive.
Right.
I chose to be independent because I heard it was a good thing and I didn't know any better. So I
Okay.
chose that path.
All right.
And then I stayed in that lane. I stayed in that lane. And that's all I did for the first 5 years.
Okay.
So when I started in Medicare, Medicare was it. That was the Kool-Aid that I drank, and I learned it, and I helped people understand it, and I started to enjoy it. So by me being an independent, that helped me. I didn't. Let me be careful. Nobody is going to represent every single plan. That's
Right.
that's a
Right.
tell. That's just a tell. So that's why you saw the contortions in my face.
Right.
But I did start, and I started with a few plans, and I had guidance, and I had a mentor, and etc. And I stayed in that lane for the first 5 years.
Wow. Wow.
Since then, I've added other types of insurance. And
Okay.
on the senior side, when we talk about what type of insurance, I talk about long-term care. Long-term care, um, people have a true misunderstanding of long-term care. We don't have the time to talk about it, but I will share this with you. If you've
Okay.
ever had to become a caregiver,
Hmm.
which my wife and I have had to do, you're going to need some additional money, and you're going to need some help. And that's one of the ways to have that, is to have a long-term care plan. So at some point we all run into it. And
Right.
so I'm jumping track here. I just wanted to mention that on the senior side. And
Okay.
when we talk about life insurance, um, the thing that I caution people about right away is not to be in a hurry to
Right.
purchase insurance. There is an
Right.
element in which you yourself need to do your due diligence. Now, going through Google and YouTube, et cetera, and et cetera, is only going to give
Yeah.
you a baseline of knowledge. You do and you should talk to a professional. And in this case, you really want to talk to someone that you can get to know, like, and trust. Because not everybody, you're not going to gel with everyone. However, when you talk about life insurance, it's not what it is. Because when you hear life insurance, you automatically think boring, run, and even agents will tell you that it's not sexy, of course, whatever. But it's what it does. It's what life insurance does for a person that can do and bring total freedom in the way of finances into their household. Now, life insurance is definitely it has a when they say life insurance, that's because it has a death benefit, and that's the way it has to be structured, or it may be construed as a financial instrument like
Right.
401k, et cetera, and et cetera. We don't want to go there because that's not what it is. But structured properly, the right type of insurance, whether it be whole life or whether it be IUL, Index Universal Life Insurance
Mhm.
policy, structured properly, you can actually create a supplemental retirement plan. And for some folks, they might not even have a 401k, right? They may not have anything at all. And I do help some entrepreneurs who are out there making it happen on their own. And I've helped them create a retirement plan because all roads lead to retirement. So create something that's going to work for them in the future. Now, what's the future? Well, I'm talking about long term. So I'm starting to, when I look at it, depending on how it's structured, we're talking 5 years, 10 years, and etc. But guess what? Life
Okay.
insurance, this type of life insurance, when you talk about permanent life insurance, you can actually send and fund your children's college. You
Yes.
can actually do that. And the cool thing about it is it's tax free.
Right.
So you're putting money into a place that becomes tax free income for you. It's all about just knowing how to make it happen. Now, and I hate this. So I'm going to say what I hate. I hate one one entity pitting another entity against the other. I hate it.
Right.
When we talk about permanent life insurance, I would recommend first of all that you look at both,
Yeah.
right? And the person you're talking to, if that person starts to say something against that other one, you know what? You need to run because he or she does not have your best interest at heart. I
Right.
would say that right away. You can structure insurance, life insurance, not only for the cash value that it has, but it also has what's called living benefits. So when we talk about living benefits, we're talking about things like heart attack, stroke, and cancer. And a lot of people don't know that, right? Now, with that, if a person becomes critically ill, not chronic, critically
Mhm.
ill, then you can actually get a portion of that to help fund, right, and support that person that is with that illness.
Okay.
Now, when we talk about chronic illness, because I did say chronic, then we talk about uh, long-term care. We may be talking about dementia. We may be talking about where a person cannot um, um, sustain or take care of himself. That means he may not, or she may not be able to move themselves from the bed to a chair. Right?
Right.
Those are called activities of daily living.
Hmm.
Right? And if you can't do that, then you need assistance. Well, there's also an element in certain types of life insurance, permanent life insurance, that will allow that to happen. They will pay you so much. Now, it's going to depend upon the carrier. That's why I'm not quoting a
Right.
percentage or
Right.
anything
Right.
like that, right? But I will tell you the concept is there, right? It would support the person while they're still alive. Most folks think about, we think about a car, right? We remember when a car had roll down windows. I don't know how you are, but I'm just gonna guess you remember.
Yes,
so,
I do.
so
I do
we remember,
remember
we
roll down
remember
windows.
that. That's exactly right. So over time, the automobile has evolved, right? Even today, we have what, EV or whatever they call it, right? You plug it in, and now you can go without any gasoline.
Right,
Well, life insurance, although they don't market it like that, life insurance has essentially done the same thing. It
right,
has evolved. It has evolved with the needs of the people,
right,
right? That's what it's done. So it's not what it is, it's what it does. And so when you stop to think about it, for pennies on the dollar, right? Pennies on the dollar, there is money to be had. And if structured right, you can use it while you are alive.
right.
That's permanent life insurance. Now I've been talking so much, I didn't give you a chance to ask that one
No, no,
question.
no, no. We good. It's good. We jump right into it. We jump right into it. So I
But
wanted
go
to
ahead.
just to backtrack a little bit because our
Sure.
topic is paths to financial wellness, and I wanted to ask you specifically. Um, there's different views on what is financial freedom, financial wellness. How would you define financial wellness and the services that you provide?
Well, how we do it, because it's not just myself,
Okay.
right? I collaborate and I network quite a bit. So I have strategic partners outside of Alvin Lynn and holistic retirement that I can turn to. So it's going to depend. So when we talk about financial wellness, we're talking about taking a holistic approach.
Okay.
So we're not only talking about their finances, we're taking and talking to them about their finances and what it would look like, uh, as they get older, and we're looking at their health.
Okay.
So again, along that path, that's one way, because everything costs. And then we're also talking about budgeting and how to have a successful budget and maintain a budget. What you see in my face now is one thing that gets lost in the word budget. It's almost like a diet, right?
Right.
Most people get on a diet, and they start out great, and then the diet goes away,
Right.
right? Because there's an element missing, and that's called the emotional spending element. Well,
Right.
we talk about those things that are known, but we also talk about those things that are unknown.
Hmm.
And on my site, we actually will talk about, there are certain things that we actually talk about, that will actually move a person from being in debt to being out of debt in a certain amount of time.
Okay.
And it's been proven that you can actually become debt free inside of 10 years.
Okay.
Again, that is something that we
Now, does
that
that debt
we get into.
include student loans,
That
mortgages, or
that is
credit
that's
cards, or
absolutely.
okay,
And that does include, yes, no doubt about it. That includes mortgage. And I've had people look at me and say, "Really?" But that's exactly right. Inside of 10 years, what we do is we look at those paths to make you completely debt free.
okay,
Total financial wellness.
okay, debt free, following the budget. Now, how does insurance and the different things you talked about in the opening, how does
Mhm.
that play within financial wellness?
That plays the major role.
Okay,
That is the major driver. And here's something that a lot of people, well, I share this. We can actually, when we sit down and talk with a person, we don't charge them, right, for the service. Number one. Number two, we meet them where they are financially. So we're not asking them to go out and get a loan or anything like that. We make that happen with what that person has, to what they have at in hand. That's what we do.
okay, okay. Now, you started out with um, Medicare, so you are working with seniors selling supplemental
Yes.
programs to help enhance their Medicare.
I'll share with you. So when we talk about Medicare, a person, I'll explain Medicare very quickly. Medicare is not only for seniors.
Hmm.
Medicare is also for people who become disabled, and if they are disabled or rated disabled for 24 months, on the
Right.
25th month, they are now qualified for Medicare. And in that, we help, or I help. I am really involved with Medicare. What I get involved with them, that is I help them to select the right plan for themselves. Some people may take a Medicare supplement plan. A Medicare supplement plan is simply you have Medicare, that red, white, and blue card, and you add a supplement to it. In other words, you hear people call it Medigap plans.
Medigap.
So
Right.
Medigap, that's a common term.
Right.
In that type of plan, what you're having to add on, because then it becomes a la carte, is you're going to pay a monthly premium for that Medicare plan, that Medicare supplement plan. Then you're going
Yes.
to have to add on prescription drugs because that is by law. And then
Hmm.
you're going to have to get vision, right? And also dental. And I always encourage people, because I'm an old artillery guy, make sure that you got your hearing. Have your hearing checked, have your hearing checked. And
Right.
so
Right.
those are the things that you add on. Now, what has become super popular is Medicare Advantage. Not like it was even 15 years ago. Now you have what you see those commercials where they're
Right.
talking about zero premium and all these different benefits, and you can benefit and you can have extra money and blah 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 blah. Right? Or they do all that in 30 seconds, but that's called a Medicare Advantage plan. There is no pre-qualification for that at all. All you have to do is have A and B, your Medicare card, your red, white, and blue card. That's all you
Okay.
have to have. And then you absolutely qualify for one of those type of plans as long as you live in the area. So
Okay.
it's
Okay.
about the zip code or the county.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. So the Medigap, Medicare Advantage, you
Hmm.
provide those programs. So you made the transition to life insurance
Hmm.
and really promoting different products. And so, is your major focus is helping people to prepare for retirement, or also to help entrepreneurs in investing?
My major focus is helping folks uh, move through life towards retirement.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if I'm talking with a business owner or entrepreneur, it's the same principles and concepts. We walk down that same path with a few differences maybe, and that's why. Uh, and I'm glad you brought that up because there are some things that I may not do, and that's okay because I have partners that actually will. So
Okay.
I am a wealth of resources.
Okay.
So it's not many folks out there in my industry that I can't reach out and touch and have a relationship with. So I'm not
Okay.
just the old days we would say yellow pages. I'm not just okay, I can help you, and I just throw a dart at the dartboard and come up with a name. The people that I internet or that I network with, I've had coffee with them. I've had lunch with them, and I know that we've worked together and even brainstormed on several occasions.
Okay. All right. So, which now, let's say someone maybe in their mid 30s,
Mhm.
they're starting their career, and they want to, maybe they participate in a 401k at their job, but they may want to look for another alternative for retirement. What products would you offer that person?
Well, that's a great question. That's going to depend on a couple of things, and typically because what I do is I like to look at how we can structure life insurance to supplement or actually add to their retirement as they're going forward.
Okay.
So insurance, I strongly believe that it is protection against financial loss, and that's what I use.
Okay.
So now I will share this with you. There are cases um, where we talk about balance, and we always do, because if a person is has a 401k for their retirement and it is being matched, that's free money.
Right.
So I'm very careful not to mess with that at all. If they're having a match, I want to talk about diversity. as
Right.
opposed to, hey, you should change this to get this better over here. That's not smart, and it's not to that person's advantage.
Okay. That's interesting because I know there's different viewpoints
Hmm.
on a 401k because
Hmm.
it's can be tied up with mutual funds or
Right.
stocks and it's volatile. And then
And
when
it
you pull it
is.
out, it's taxed. And then there's a
It
group
is.
that promotes IULs policies because it can be indexed at a specific rate, and
Hmm.
then as it grows, you take it out, it's tax free. So I know there's different camps.
Yeah,
But
there is.
I like the
I,
fact that you said that if a company is matching, then you
yeah.
want the person to, get that free money and do the match, but also consider other options as well.
I believe in diversity. All right.
Okay.
There's never one size fits all.
Okay.
And I've lived long enough to see that in many different venues. And so I'm real careful. Um, uh, yes, 401k, IRA, 403bs. Yes, those are qualified accounts.
Mhm.
TSPs, those are qualified accounts. And yes, they're in the market. And yes, at the end of the day, Uncle Sam could actually. I'm so glad you brought that up. Uncle Sam could actually get in there through the legislature and actually raise taxes and make changes. Yes, yes, yes.
Right.
But see, that's the retirement plan for today, of today, right? Now, if a person he or she can consider doing some things differently if there is no match.
Hmm.
Sure, I would never be opposed to that. But if there's a match, I would say diversify. And we teach
Okay.
you how to diversify so that you're able to eat more of your cake, right? You see what I'm saying? You
Right.
know, and I just think that's the best approach. That's the approach that I
Okay.
know that I support.
Okay. Now I want to ask you. A lot of people in our audience,
Hmm.
I call my viewing audience the 9 to 5 entrepreneurs. They have a regular
Okay.
job, and
Yes.
they may have a hobby or a passion
Right.
that they're working on
Right.
and
Right.
developing, and with the dream of possibly having that 9 to 5 retire them from their main job, draw income. So
Hmm.
if you work with a business owner like that, who they're not tied to a job, but they need to plan for retirement, have some investments, what products do you have for them?
Well, I would tell you, for me, for Alvin Lynn, and I'm very careful to say this right. For me, for what I would offer, if it was just me, which it wouldn't be at that point, it would be insurance because
Okay.
that's my lane.
All right.
My strategic partners may bring something else. So there is never, never, ever just one solution, right,
Okay.
or one idea. I believe that's foolhardy, right? I believe that every person is an individual, and each solution must be tailored to meet that person. A good a good example. I'll use me. I could always talk about me,
Okay.
right? So I am an entrepreneur. I obviously we call I may have the title of broker because
Okay.
I'm an independent, but I also own um, a promotional products company, right? So that company is another company, okay? And I also am involved in it's not necessarily network marketing, but it is network marketing.
Okay.
So multiple streams of income is where I'm going with this. And when we
Right.
say multiple streams of income, I'm talking about residual. So
Right.
not a one time, I'm talking about a trail. And that's one of the bigger conversations that when given the opportunity that I talk to entrepreneurs about
Right.
is creating trails of money so that when you turn a certain age and as long as you live, you're going to get there. At some point, we're going to stop working. At
Right.
some point, maybe 80, maybe 90, but at some point, we're going to stop earning money, and what we have created yesterday is going to be paying for us at that time.
Okay.
So that's how we do it.
Okay. Now I'm curious because I'm in the I'm considered a 9 to 5 entrepreneur. I have a day job.
Hmm.
I'm pursuing my dreams and passion to hopefully transition to a full-time entrepreneur. But I wanted to know, you talked a little bit about a case study with a gentleman who structured a IUL
Yeah.
to the point where he was able to use the cash value money to lend out to other entrepreneurs and also for his real estate business. How do you structure that? Is there a way you can explain how you structure
Well,
IUL properly to do that?
well, yes. So when you look at, there are some things that you had to be careful of, and so there's
Okay.
some terminologies that that I would say, but then it would take longer to kind of explain. So,
Right.
but let's do it this way, right? So the more money you put in, right, the faster the cash value will grow.
Okay.
So you can overfund a particular policy, and you can also have more than one policy.
Okay.
You
Okay.
got it,
Got
right?
it.
See, and because there is no restrictions, meaning you no restrictions when we talk about age. Like with a 401k, you had to be 59 and a half, and
Right.
then
Right.
you can only take out so much, you can only put so much in. Those things, it's not a it does they don't do not exist. Okay, you make
Okay.
sense,
Yes.
right? So yes, you can have more than one type of policy, and there are guys
Okay.
out there that are in the seven-figure range with cash value that have more than one policy.
Okay. Okay. So is there a cap on the cash value portion
Well, that's
for
going
each
to
policy? For
well,
each
when we
policy?
talk, remember we're talking about life insurance,
Okay.
right? So keep that in mind. So the earlier, the younger you get life insurance, right?
Hmm.
The the more you're going to actually be able to qualify and afford.
Okay.
So in my case, at 67, right? If I went and I purchased a life insurance policy now, it's going to be much more expensive than a guy who's 47.
Okay. I just turned 50 this year. So what would that look like for me if I wanted to have an IUL as a possible investment?
Well, you healthy? I'm not. You want me to sell you now? You want me to sell
I'm
your
not a
policy right
smoker. I
now?
barely drink. I do exercise
let me
3
let
days
me
a
tell
week.
you.
So
Well, that's great. So
yeah.
you will qualify. You would actually qualify for a better policy
Okay.
than someone who did drink, or not drink, but smoked,
Tobacco user.
and tobacco user, and was not healthy. So you weigh 400 pounds, you're going to be in trouble, right?
Right.
As opposed to somebody who's younger
Mhm.
and more fit.
Right. Right. Okay.
But there is underwriting. So when we talk about, and that's what you're getting at, that's what I hear you saying. How do you
Right.
qualify?
Right.
Yeah. So there's underwriting involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there's underwriting involved for IUL.
Oh yeah.
That's index universal life
Yeah. There's
policy. That's a
yeah.
whole life policy.
Yeah. No, it's not a whole life. Whole life
Oh,
is a little bit different, but
okay.
they're both permanent. Now I will share this with you, right? And it's a good question that you asked that. Um, Risk. So, when we talk about risk, they have to evaluate risk. Those actuaries are going to evaluate risk, and if the healthier you are,
Right.
right, the better off you'll be, and the more likelihood that you will be able to get a life insurance policy like that,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So it's risk. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So okay. So because my thought is you know, the IULs, they're kind of the buzzword in the
They
internet.
are. Oh
I
yeah.
see Instagram reels, TikTok.
Yeah.
There's a popular rapper who he made it popular. He
Right.
Rocka Flocka talked about IULs. People are trying to.
Right.
There's people saying you can use them just like you said and invest in real estate. So I have
Mhm.
interest in that, but I don't
Sure.
know how it has to be structured and what's the process. So
And
that's why I was asking.
yeah, and you know what? You have me over for a cup of coffee. I'll
All
be
right.
more happy to share it with you. Be
All right.
more than happy to show you.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
problem.
And actually, that is a great transition because we're going to talk about how people can work directly with you and and take advantage of your services. So we're going to get into that. Have a quick announcement, and we'll get in when we come back. We'll talk about how we can how those who are viewing can work directly with you and take advantage of your services.
Sure, absolutely.
Hey everyone, this is Charles with Detroit Metro Plug Podcast. If you are finding value in today's video, I invite you to subscribe, like, and comment. We would love to hear your feedback. And don't forget, to click on that notification bell so you can be notified when we have upcoming episodes of difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship and community involvement. If you're interested in being a part of our Facebook networking community, I invite you to click on the link to be a part of that community. This is a place where you can network with like minded people and a chance to share about your product or service. If you're interested in working with me directly on how you can share your story with video or with podcasting, you can email me direct at DetroitMetroPlug313 at gmail.com. Thanks again, and let's get back to this interview.
All right. So welcome back for those who are viewing us tonight live. And thank you for those who'll be watching on the replay, episode 74. We've had our guest today, Alvin Lynn III. He is a retired U.S. Army veteran. So thank you for your service to our country. He's been sharing his path in the health insurance business, as working specifically with Medicare and seniors, and also how he pivoted and worked with life insurance and helping people have a holistic approach with their finances, helping them with budgeting, tackling debt, and also preparing for retirement. So we're going to go into how people can work directly with you. Um, So this is some slides from your website. So what's the whole process if somebody's viewing this episode and they want to work directly with you and do a discovery call?
You know what? It's real simple. They can actually call me on my cell phone. I, I prefer a phone call, and they could reach me. And if they miss me, I'll be more than happy to call them back. They can email me. That's just as easy. And of course, you can send me a text message, and
Okay.
I'll get back with them.
All right. So we have your phone number here for
Hmm.
audience on this slide, 248-633-5255. Is that
Correct.
right? All
Correct.
right. So you saying anybody can text you, call you
Oh yeah.
to set up an appointment. There's your email there. And then what would be the function of the website, the holisticretirement.net?
Well, that's great question. Just a little bit of information that speaks to what our actual mission is when we talk about holistic retirement.
Okay. Okay. Um, yeah. So you talk about mortgage payoff, average student loan debt, credit card debt, um, the services that you do, and you have a question. Are you 100% sure you're going to have great retirement? Okay. All right. Now, if they reach out and call you, what's the whole process? Do they have to set up an appointment, fill out a form, or do a
Well, no, they
discovery
don't
call?
fill out a form until we talk. So,
Okay.
I this is this is not a I'm not an order taker, and it is crucial uh, that we establish a relationship. So
Hmm.
therefore, you'll know that I'm absolutely honest with you because I'm
Hmm.
going to ask you to be absolutely honest with me. I'm not intrusive, but the first step is the conversation. And through that conversation, the next step would be a fact finder. And in that fact finder, I'm going to take that fact finder and then we'll analyze that and come back to have another conversation about possible solutions. And
Okay.
then, you'll make a decision from there.
Now, what would you say is your ideal customer?
Well, you know, that's a good question too. I appreciate that question.
Yeah.
Um, any person, any person, it doesn't matter what age, any person that actually wants to move forward and become debt free, if they're not, and want to have a predictable retirement income.
Okay.
That's my kind of person.
Okay.
Uh, and along the way, there are things that can happen for you, right? You, I, I know when I think out loud, my face makes these. I
Oh,
go
you're
through
okay.
that.
You're good.
But you know what? One thing that irritates me, and I gotta say it. I don't believe. I really don't believe that a person has to starve, right, in order to have a decent retirement.
Okay.
I,
Okay.
I do
That's good.
believe this, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. And you can actually have problems along the way in life. You're gonna have those, but you can still overcome those, having decent or good retirement, meaning that you can live along the way. You can still own a car. And when I say own it, I mean have it paid for and your title and own your house and still be able to do things and fun things and help your children. Speaking of that, at a certain age, your, your children shouldn't be asking you for no money. So sorry about that. I had to throw that in there. Parents, I'm going to say this. I got to say it. Listen, if you got grown children, right, and you still funding those grown children, I don't want, don't, I'm just saying, right, all things being equal, you got to understand this. At a certain age, you're going to need all the money that you have. So if you're giving it away, and I'm speaking to a relative right now, cut that crap out. She probably not gonna watch this. That's
All right. I hope that relative heard your words of wisdom.
there we go.
So we talked about your ideal client or customer um, for the products you have. So someone is looking to get out of debt and also plan for retirement, but still be able to live their life. Would you say is a certain like if someone's older, like 50 or above, is it too late for them to plan for retirement, or
Uh,
what advice would you give them?
no, no, because we also have people who go through divorce. We also have
Right.
people who are, who are widowed. We also have people, things happen. People
Hmm.
who lose a job and they're moving back and they're getting on their feet. No one should be discriminated against. Period.
Okay.
Right? If a person is actually willing to actually become disciplined enough to take a look and work through a plan, then they should be able. They're prime. They're good to have. Right?
Okay.
All right, that's how I'll say it that way because we all go through things,
Right.
you
Right.
know. Who doesn't, right?
Right.
So you know, I'll leave it at that because we
Okay.
also have people who fall into situations with their health, you
Right.
know, and you could take a cancer person, a cancer survivor. That cancer survivor, hallelujah, right? Praise God that they
Right.
survived.
They
But
survive.
see,
Right.
there's an income element. That thing costs money, right?
Exactly.
That's
Right.
extra money. Your health plan is not paying for that unless you have an insurance type of policy that's going to
Right.
cover that. So, yeah, no one
Okay.
cannot be helped. I believe every person
You can help.
that
Okay.
wants to be helped can be helped.
So for someone who's watching who is a young person has no
Mhm.
insurance at all,
Mhm.
no life insurance, so
Sure.
what would you recommend for them to get? How would they get started?
Well, first of all, I think if you don't have any life insurance at all, right, I really think that you need to call someone, right, and just ask the question. I mean, number one, whether you're single, I've come across that, on more than one occasion.
Mm.
Look, I'm single. I don't have no children. Why do I need life insurance?
Right, right, right,
Okay, pause for a moment, right? Just pause for a moment, and when you do that, you could think about, well, you do have someone and you're probably going to have some bills. There's a lot of moving parts. My recommendation is to find out how much you may need, right, and then move forward, but don't leave it up to somebody to do a dadgum uh GoFundMe for you.
right, right, right,
That's the, that's the hardest hardship that I've had to witness on more than one occasion, when
right.
a person can actually have, for pennies on the dollar, enough to take care of their, their
Your
final
final expenses,
expenses.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay. And you can help those who need just final expenses,
I can.
retirement,
Yes.
long-term care, and
Yes.
also for those like myself who are interested in how to use this for
Yeah.
investing in business. Okay. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. We can always have a conversation, you and I,
Yeah.
or anyone else.
Right.
Uh, if I'm sitting down and talking with folks, as much as I like to talk, are you kidding me? So, you know, it's education first,
Right.
enlightenment first, right?
Okay.
Everybody has a part to play, right? If I
Right.
say something to you, you should be able to see it in writing.
Right.
So if I say this is that, I should be able to provide that for you to read it on your own, with actually without me being present, so no pressure, because I
Right.
don't like pressure. And
Right.
then we can have another conversation. That's
Awesome.
how
Awesome.
that's actually how I treat every person, because
Okay.
I deal with a lot of seniors. I'm gonna say this so I can get it off my chest. I deal with a lot of seniors. And when I'm dealing with the 85-year-old male or female, I am not going to tell that person, here, sign here, right? It
Right.
ain't no way. Mr. and Mrs. So and so, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to let you read it. Have your daughter read it, son read it, and let's get back together.
Right. Okay. That's good. That's good. I like how you do business. As we wrap things up, I want to give you a chance to talk about your. You have a promotional marketing company. Can you
I do.
share about that?
Oh, yeah. Well,
Okay.
I'm excited about that. It's called First Sergeant Marketing. So,
Okay. Yes.
that was the rank that I retired. That
Oh,
when I retired, that was the rank
all right. That
that I
deserves
retired.
some air horns.
Yeah, yeah. Whoop whoop.
Thank you for your service to our country.
Oh yeah, absolutely. 20 years. I retired in 1996. Now, why did I start this company? I actually started this company because I want to do a couple of things, and with the promotional products company, which I can do that with, I can make things happen to include get involved with Uncle Sam through another venue, which is federal funding. So I have a desire to actually, as I grow this company, to actually bring on people that I can teach certain things about promotional products and wearables and how to do monogramming and blah 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 blah, those things.
Okay.
So that's the aim with First Sergeant Marketing.
First Sergeant Marketing. Okay.
Mhm.
Great. Great. So as we wrap things up, uh, what would be the one word or phrase that you would say describes how you do business?
I've heard this said to me on more than one occasion. Alvin, you're helpful.
Helpful. Okay.
Helpful. Yeah, helpful. People say you've been very helpful to me. You've been very helpful to me.
Mhm.
So that's the word that actually kind of sticks out.
Okay. Helpful. Okay. And any books that you would recommend that has impacted you that you would like to share with our audience?
Well, I read, when I actually have a couple of books I'm looking down at right now. And usually when I'm looking, I'm typically reading because I want to know more about how to help people retire or how they look
Okay.
at retirement.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and there's a couple on. I don't know if it's one is called the new holistic retirement,
Okay.
uh,
Awesome.
and yeah, and that's one that I actually have gone back and read again. And you read something more than once, typically you could pull something out of it
Right.
that you didn't see before. So
Okay.
that's one that's one that I
Okay.
would say, you might will go on Amazon or something and you can find it on Amazon.
Any parting words as we wrap things up? I put up your contact information so people can know how to reach you directly to start that process and get that conversation going.
When you're talking when you're talking, nobody likes to part with money, period. No
Right.
doubt about it. I don't either. But I don't. I'm not going to put it under. I'm not going to put it under a mattress. So when we talk about how you look at your money or how I look at my money, is to take your time, think it through, and ask questions. No question is a crazy question. No question is a stupid question, as they say. And if the person is not willing to give you the time to actually answer your question where you are satisfied, then I say go somewhere else. So that includes me. If I'm out there flapping, that's an army term. If I'm out there flapping, if I'm just out there flapping and you don't understand me, that's okay, right? You need to walk away because you're the most important person to you and you are of value. And so when it comes to your money, you got to protect it.
Okay. All right. When it comes to your money, you got to protect it. Well, I want to thank you for being on this episode 74 on this
Cool.
podcast. I appreciate your service to our country and your dedication for helping people, seniors, helping individuals who want to become debt free, helping individuals with budgeting, paying off their mortgage, their car loans, credit cards, and preparing for retirement. Because, as I said in the opening, we live in a time of uncertainty and there's constant change with new technology and disruptions and stuff like that. So you want to make sure you're financially whole. So I just thank you again for the wealth of knowledge you
Oh
shared.
yeah. I
Yeah.
appreciate being here. Yeah, no doubt.
And I definitely want to encourage our audience. If you are looking to find ways to become debt free, to plan for retirement, if you're an entrepreneur and you don't have a 401k, you're a business owner and you have nothing set up for your own retirement, or you're looking to advance your business with finding some type of investment strategy, I encourage you to reach out to Alvin Lynn III. His contact information will be in the description in the YouTube replay, but also we shared it today during our podcast. So I encourage you to support him, and thanks again. And I thank you for being on our show.
Man, it was a pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Well, that wraps up our episode. I want to thank you again for viewing tonight. And again, if you find value in what we're doing and the services we're providing, I encourage you to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Detroit Metro Plug Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at Detroit Metro Plug Podcast. Follow us on LinkedIn at Detroit Metro Plug Podcast. Each week, bringing you interviews of Detroit difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship and community involvement. We're celebrating those who are doing great things in our city. Thanks again. We'll see you tomorrow. Have another interview tomorrow. I'll be coming to you live, or it'll be a pre-recorded. We're still working that out, but have another interview about the Ride for Equity with Black Leaders Detroit. You guys have a good night.